When my 2-year-old daughter called another woman mommy in front of me, I didn't scream. I didn't cry. I didn't even blink. I just froze, like my entire soul got vacuum sealed in silence. Her tiny voice was soft, almost casual. "Mommy, can I have more juice?" But she wasn't looking at me. She was looking at her, the woman sitting next to my ex-husband, barefoot in my old kitchen, smiling like she belonged there. And maybe she did. Because I was the one who left. Not dramatically, not with a suitcase and a bottle of wine in one hand. But quietly, with a shaky voice and a whisper of honesty I thought would set me free. I'm not ready to be a mom. My daughter was 9 months old the night I finally said it out loud. It was raining. That cliché, slow, cinematic kind of rain that makes everything feel more important than it is. I was sitting on the floor of the nursery, rocking back and forth with her in my arms, both of us crying. Only difference was, she'd stop. I didn't. My husband, Mark, stood in the doorway holding a bottle of formula, asking me to just go lie down for a bit. Like rest was a magic wand that could fix the feeling that I was disappearing inside myself. I didn't have the words for it back then. I just knew I felt like I was acting in a movie about someone else's life. Smiling on cue, breastfeeding on schedule, crying behind closet doors. I'd had postpartum depression, or anxiety, or rage, or maybe all of it. No one told me how blurry those lines get when you haven't slept in a month. Mark tried, I'll give him that. He did the night shifts, took paternity leave, learned how to swaddle better than I could. He was good. Too good. So good it made me feel like the broken one. And one night I said it. I don't think I can do this, not like this. He didn't yell. He didn't accuse. He just asked, "What do you need?" And I told him the truth. Time, space, a break. I need to remember who I was before this. He nodded. Held me. And 3 days later, I packed a small bag and moved into my sister's spare room. I didn't leave forever. I left for 30 days. That was the deal. 30 days to reset, to breathe, to sleep, to think. Maybe start therapy again, maybe journal, maybe remember how to be a person. I FaceTimed every night, at first. But seeing my daughter's chubby cheeks and sleepy eyes through a screen only made things worse. I'd hang up and cry until my stomach hurt. So I started spacing out the calls. Every other night. Then twice a week. Then once. It was like my body was trying to protect me from the guilt by shutting down the connection. Mark didn't fight me. He said, "Take the time you need." He said, "We'll be here when you're ready." And that felt safe, like I could stretch out the pause without consequences. But time doesn't pause for anyone. Especially not Bobby's. By the time I came back, she was walking. Saying 2-word phrases. Feeding herself. She didn't reach for me when I walked in the door. She looked at me like I was the babysitter. And Mark. He was fine. More than fine. He looked rested, focused, sharp, like someone who'd finally settled into a rhythm. I was the one still learning how to breathe. I stayed a few nights, slept in the guest room, played with her in the mornings, read her brown bear at night, watched her yawn with her whole face. But something felt off. I couldn't explain it, like the room had been redecorated and no one told me. Like the story had moved on and I was still stuck on a previous chapter. Then I found the receipt. It was in the trash, half covered in coffee grounds. 2 tickets to the aquarium. 1 adult, 1 child, 1 other adult. Not a friend. Not a relative. Not me. Just a name I didn't recognize, Rachel. I stared at it until the letters blurred. Then I put it back exactly where I found it. I didn't ask. Didn't cry. Didn't accuse. Just left the next morning with a soft kiss on my daughter's forehead and the thinnest excuse I could find. I think I need more time. Mark nodded. Always nodding. Always calm. Always better than me. The next few months blurred. I tried to come back a few times. Brought gifts, new books, stuffed animals, organic snacks. But I wasn't consistent. I'd show up once then vanish again, ghosted by my own guilt. And Rachel. She didn't vanish. She stuck. I saw her once, dropping off my daughter after preschool. Polished, casual, comfortable, like someone who lived there. And the worst part, my daughter ran into her arms first. So when I finally got the courage to ask Mark if we could talk, he didn't say no. But he didn't say yes either. He just said, we can talk, but a lot changed. And when I arrived that Saturday morning, heart pounding, hands full of pastries and hope, and my daughter ran right past me and said, "Hi, Mommy," to her. I didn't scream. Didn't cry. Didn't even blink. Because deep down, I already knew. I'd asked for space. And someone else filled it. The next time I saw Rachel, she offered me coffee. Not in a rude way. Not like, "You're just a visitor here." More like, "I'm hosting and you're the guest." She stood in the kitchen I designed, barefoot in the same spot I used to cry at 2 a.m. holding a bottle, and asked, "Still take it with oat milk?" I nodded. Only because my throat couldn't form the words, "How do you even know that?" She poured, smiled, like this was normal. Like we were two women, co-parenting a child, that only one of us had pushed out of her body. I sat down at the table while she helped my daughter, stack wooden blocks on a mat near the window. My daughter giggled. Like everything was fine. Like I hadn't missed the last 5 months of firsts, and favorite foods and nap songs. "Do you like almond milk now, sweetheart?" I asked her. She nodded. Almond milk is Mommy Rachel's favorite, and mine too. Mommy, Rachel. And mine too. It hit me like a car crash in slow motion. Mark came in from the garage a few minutes later, wiping his hands on a towel like nothing was off. "Hey, Cam," he said, casual, like I hadn't just watched my child choose another woman's lap. "Can we talk?" I said sharply. "Alone." Rachel looked up. Mark hesitated. Then he turned to her and said, "Can you take Addie to the backyard for a bit?" Addie. They short her name, Adeline, my Adeline. Now Addie. Everything was softer, cuter, curated. Even my child's name had been rebranded. We stood in the hallway, the same one where I used to whisper prayers under my breath that my daughter would finally fall asleep. "You said things had changed," I began. "I just didn't realize it meant this much." Mark didn't flinch. "She needed stability," he said. "Routine, someone who's here, Camille, not someone who shows up twice a month with guilt in her eyes." That cut deep because it was true. "I never meant to stay away this long," I said. He nodded. Of course he nodded. "You meant to get better, and maybe you did, but in the meantime, she got used to Rachel, to having someone consistent. I didn't plan this, Cam. It just happened." "Does she live here?" I asked. Mark didn't answer immediately. "Then she does now." I swallowed hard. It tasted like regret. Not rage, not injustice, just failure. I didn't leave right away. I stayed for dinner. I watched Rachel make Adeline's plate, cutting the carrots into tiny flowers, peeling the skin off the apples, using the blue plate with the giraffe print because that's her favorite. I used to think I was a good cook. Now I felt like a stranger who brought store-bought cupcakes to a 5-course meal. When it was bath time, I instinctively got up to help. Adeline turned to Rachel. "Mommy Rachel does it better," she said. No malice, no agenda. Just truth. I excused myself and sat on the porch. Rachel came out 20 minutes later, hair damp from bath steam, holding 2 cups of tea. "Chamomile." She handed me one. "I know this is hard," she said. I didn't respond. She kept going. "I didn't mean to take your place, I still don't, but she needed someone, and I was here." I looked at her, really looked at her. She wasn't cruel. She wasn't smug. She was just present. The thing I hadn't been. "Do you love her?" I asked. Rachel paused. Then, yes, but not like a stand-in, more like a bonus. I stared at the tea. "You can hate me," she said. "I don't," I whispered. "I hate me." I didn't sleep that night. I lay awake in my sister's guest bed, staring at the ceiling, wondering when exactly I lost her. Was it the day I left? Or the day I stopped calling? Or the day I convinced myself she'd be better off without the version of me that couldn't function? Maybe it wasn't a moment. Maybe it was all of them, stacked like dominoes, leading to this point, where my daughter had a bedtime routine I didn't know, a nickname I hadn't chosen, and a new mother figure who'd earned the title I'd thrown away like it was too heavy to carry. The next morning, I texted Mark. "Can I see her this weekend? Just us." He replied in less than a minute. "Of course, she misses you." I stared at the words for a long time, because I didn't know if they were true. Or just kind. But I held on to them anyway. That weekend, I took Adeline to the park. She held my hand, let me push her on the swing, laughed when I almost fell chasing her around the slide. And for 2 hours, it felt like a second chance. Until she saw a woman in yoga pants walking her dog and screamed, "Mommy Rachel." The woman was Rachel. But it didn't matter. Because that's who she reached for. I made a plan. Not a revenge plan, not a win-him-back plan. A motherhood plan. I was going to show up, be present, reclaim my daughter. Because I still had rights. I was her mother, damn it. I carried her. I bled for her. I gave her her first lullaby, even if I forgot the second. So I called Mark and said I wanted more time. Not just weekends. Real time. He hesitated. I heard it in the silence before he said, "Let's try a few overnights first." Fine, baby steps. I'd take what I could get. I scrubbed the guest room at my sister's house until it looked like a Pinterest nursery. I bought a second-hand crib, fairy lights, shelves with pastel bins, even a nightlight that projected stars on the ceiling. I stocked the fridge with almond milk and non-GMO snacks, and those dinosaur chicken nuggets she apparently loved now. And when Friday came, I picked her up in a car seat I'd reinstalled 3 times to make sure it was perfect. She got in quietly. Didn't say much. Just clutched a plush raccoon and looked out the window. I played her favorite songs on the way home, at least the ones I thought were still her favorites. She didn't sing. Just hummed half-heartedly. And when we got to the house, she hesitated before stepping out of the car. "Where, Daddy?" she asked. "He's home," I said gently, "but you're with me tonight, sweetie." Her little brows furrowed. But Mommy Rachel makes bath time fun. The way her voice trailed off gutted me. I plastered on a smile. I can make it fun too. She looked unconvinced. Bath time was a disaster. She cried when I tried to wash her hair. Said the water was too hot, even though I tested it 3 times. She didn't like the lavender bubbles. Didn't like the towel I wrapped her in. Didn't like the pajamas I picked out. "They're scratchy," she sobbed. "Mommy Rachel lets me wear the rainbow ones." I didn't have rainbow ones. Just plain yellow cotton ones with ducks. They looked adorable to me. She looked miserable in them. And when I finally got her into bed, she asked, "Can you call Rachel? I want her to tuck me in." Something inside me cracked. I left the room and cried in the hallway. Not quiet tears. Ugly, hiccuping sobs that made my sister peek out of her bedroom with concern. "You okay?" she whispered. "She doesn't want me," I said, voice shredded. "She's confused," my sister offered. "Give it time." But it wasn't just confusion. It was comfort. And I wasn't it. The next morning, she woke up early and asked, "Are we going home now?" "This is home, sweetheart." "No, the one with the doggy and the backyard." They have a dog now. I didn't even know that. I took her to the park. Tried to build rapport. We painted rocks, blew bubbles, ate apples on a bench. It was going okay until she scraped her knee. A small fall, barely a scratch. But she wailed. And in the middle of the crying, I heard it again. Not Mommy. Not even Camille. She cried, "I want Rachel." I froze. People looked. I tried to soothe her, but she pushed me away, arms flailing. "I want my mommy," she screamed. And I wasn't the one she meant. I called Mark in tears that night. "I think I made a mistake," I said. She's not connecting." There was a pause. "I warned you," he said gently. "It'll take time." "It's like I'm a stranger," I whispered. "She's 4, Camille. She doesn't understand emotional timelines. She just knows who's there when she wakes up and who sings the song when she can't sleep." The silence between us said the rest. I hadn't been there. Rachel had. And the worst part, I was starting to resent a woman who had only stepped up where I had stepped back. Sunday night, when I drove her home, she lit up when the house came into view. "There's our car." She meant Rachel's car. She ran up the path before I even unbuckled my seatbelt. Rachel opened the door, crouched down with open arms. And my daughter threw herself into her chest. I stood by the mailbox, just watching. A spectator in a life I was supposed to be the center of. Later, as I got back in my car, I sat with my hands on the steering wheel, engine off. I didn't drive for a long time. Just sat there, staring at nothing, while the word mommy echoed in my head, like a name I used to own and no longer answered to. On Monday morning, I marched into a lawyer's office. I didn't even have an appointment. I just walked in, rage and shame braided in my chest, and told the receptionist, "I need custody help." She blinked, handed me a clipboard, and asked, "Are you trying to gain custody or restrict someone else?" "Both," I snapped. The pen shook in my hand. Under relationship to child, I wrote in all caps, "Mother." The attorney listened patiently. I told her everything, about the postpartum, the break, Rachel, the almond milk, the bath time tears, the rainbow pajamas, the scraped knee meltdown. I expected sympathy. I got professionalism. "You have no court-ordered custody agreement." "No, we just arranged things verbally. We weren't fighting." She scribbled something. "And Rachel, she lives there full-time." "Yes." "Are they married?" "No." She raised an eyebrow. "So she's the father's live-in girlfriend." I nodded sharply. "Exactly, just the girlfriend." Then I added, "She's overstepping." The attorney paused her notes. "She's overstepping how?" "She's," inserting herself, "replacing me." "But from what you've told me," she said carefully, "Rachel's caring for your daughter during the father's custodial time." "It's not official custodial time," I snapped. "We never drew lines like that." "That's part of the problem." I leaned back, deflated. The lawyer folded her hands. "Look, I understand this is emotional, but unless Rachel is harming the child, which you haven't claimed, you can't just ban her from being around the child, not without evidence that it's damaging her." "She calls her mommy. Isn't that enough?" The attorney gave me a look I hated. "Many kids use that word for step-parents or caregivers. It's confusing, yes, but unless the child is being coerced or manipulated, the court won't act on it." I walked out empty-handed. Legally, Rachel wasn't doing anything wrong. Emotionally, she was stealing my child. So I did the next best thing. I called Mark. "I want to set boundaries," I said. He was silent. "I don't want Rachel putting her to bed, or bathing her, or letting her call her mommy. That's confusing for her. It's not appropriate." "You're months late for boundaries, Camille," he said calmly. "You don't get to install a gate on a house you left wide open." She's my daughter. She's our daughter, and she's bonded to Rachel, whether you like it or not. I felt something dark and cold climb up my spine. "Then maybe I need to go to court," I said. Mark paused. "You do what you think is right, but if you make this a war, she's the one who'll bleed." Click. I showed up early for my next weekend. Determined. This time I brought every trick, toys, treats, a printed-out schedule with mommy time in rainbow font. I was going to reclaim my territory. When I rang the bell, Rachel answered. I stared straight past her. "Where, Adeline?" "She's upstairs, getting her overnight bag." "Tell her to hurry, we're on a tight schedule." Rachel nodded. "She's excited to see you." I didn't respond. She stepped aside to let me in. As Adeline came down the stairs, I noticed she held a small glittery purse with stickers all over it. "I packed my things," she said proudly. I crouched. "Good job, baby. Did you miss mommy?" She nodded, but then added, "I drew a picture for mommy Rachel. Can we stop by so I can give it to her tomorrow?" "No," I said too quickly. "We're not doing drop-bys anymore." "Why not?" she asked. I forced a smile. "Because mommy Rachel isn't your real mommy." Adeline blinked. Rachel's face changed, a flicker of something between heartbreak and fury. "She's just daddy's girlfriend," I continued, keeping my tone light but firm. You only have one real mommy, and that's me. Adeline's lip trembled. I softened. I love you so much, baby, but you know that, right? Tears pooled in her big brown eyes. I want to go back inside. What? I forgot my picture, she said, voice cracking. I want Rachel to have it. I said no. Now she was full on crying. I don't want to go anymore. The next 10 minutes were a blur of sobs, tension, Mark coming to the door, Rachel trying to soothe, me refusing to back down. Eventually, Mark pulled me aside. You're not helping her, he said. You're making her afraid to love people. I'm making her remember who her mother is. She knows she's not stupid. I looked over. Rachel was holding Adeline, rocking her gently. Adeline clung to her shirt like it was home. And maybe it was. That night, back at my sister, my daughter wouldn't sleep. She wanted her bunny. Not the one I brought. The one from that house. She wanted the lullaby Rachel sang. Not the one I'd found on Spotify and practiced all week. I lay on the floor beside her toddler mattress, hand numb from holding hers, and thought, what if I lost her? And I'm the only one still trying to pretend I did. The invitation was a formality. A pastel-colored Evite with dancing animals, balloons, and the words, Addie's turning 5, join us for a backyard celebration. I almost didn't open it. Not because I wasn't invited, I was. But because the host field said, Mark and Rachel. Her name next to his. No mention of me. No line that said, with love from Mommy Camille. Just Mark and Rachel. Like I'd been quietly removed from the authorship of my own child's life. I bought the biggest gift I could afford. A pink scooter with LED wheels, a sparkly helmet, and a little basket that came with a stuffed kitten inside. The kind of gift that takes up space, that gets noticed. I wrapped it in unicorn paper and tied it with purple ribbon. I wanted her to see it and think, Mommy came through. When I arrived at the house, I heard the music from the sidewalk. Kids laughing, bubble machine going. Rachel was in the backyard, face painted like a butterfly, helping a group of toddlers decorate cupcakes. She saw me and waved. I didn't wave back. Mark came up behind me, holding a tray of juice boxes. Hey, glad you came. I handed him the present. He smiled, she'll love it. She better, I muttered. He gave me a look, not angry, just tired. I scanned the yard. Adeline Addie was running toward a bounce house, her hair in 2 perfect braids with rainbow clips. Rachel had learned how to braid her hair. I never had. I always told myself it was too tricky, that she wouldn't sit still long enough. But clearly she did, for Rachel. When Addie saw me, she squealed, Mommy, and ran over. For a second, the world stopped spinning. I knelt, opened my arms, ready for that full-bodied toddler hug. But she stopped short. Did you bring my scooter? That was the first thing she said. Not I missed you, not I'm happy you came. Just, did you bring the thing? I smiled anyway. It's inside, baby, Daddy, keeping it safe. Yay. Then she ran back to the bounce house. I hovered near the drink table for a while, trying to look casual. But I felt like an intruder, like one of those divorced aunts who show up late and leave early. Rachel made it worse by being perfect. She remembered every kid's name. She passed out sunscreen and hand sanitizer like it was second nature. She cut the cake like a goddamn Pinterest mom. And worst of all, the cake had 2 words and icing. Happy birthday, Addie. Followed by a tiny heart and the letter R. I walked over while they were passing out slices. Hey, I said too loud. Next time, maybe let me order the cake. Rachel looked up startled. Oh, I didn't mean to. She's my daughter. Mark intervened. Camille, not now. No, seriously, whose birthday is this, hers or Rachel's chance to play house? Rachel flushed. I knew people were watching. I didn't care. Addie was staring at me, frosting on her nose. I forced a smile. Mommy just wants to help more, sweetheart. That's okay, right? She blinked. I like how Rachel does it. Right there, in front of everyone. I felt my knees buckle. I went inside to cry. In the guest bathroom, the one I used to clean back when this was my home. I stared at my reflection in the mirror. Mascara bleeding, smile trembling, neck flushed red with embarrassment. How did I become this? The awkward outsider at my daughter's birthday. A party planned without me. A cake without my name. A child who no longer looked to me first. When I came back outside, Addie was opening presents. She tore through them like a tornado, plastic toys, books, glitter, slime. When she got to mine, she gasped. The scooter. I held my breath. This was it. The moment. She'd run to me, hug me, say thank you, Mommy, maybe even forget Rachel existed for just 5 seconds. But instead, she turned to Mark. Can Rachel help me ride it? Rachel knelt, buckled the helmet, adjusted the straps like she'd done it 100 times. Of course, baby, let's go try it on the sidewalk. And Addie didn't even glance back. She just followed. I left before they lit the candles. I couldn't do it. Couldn't sing happy birthday in a chorus of strangers while my daughter blew out candles someone else had bought. Couldn't pretend I was still central when the whole solar system had shifted and I was just a cold moon orbiting someone else's sun. In the car, I stared at the steering wheel for 20 minutes again. Déjà vu. The same silence. The same ache. Only now I wasn't shocked. I was hollow. Because the truth had sunk in. I left her once. And she learned to live without me. Now I'm the one learning how to live with that. I didn't sleep after the party. Not because I was angry. Because I was done. Done keeping score. Done crying over bath routines I never learned. Done asking 4-year-olds to validate my motherhood. I wasn't a victim, not anymore. I was a woman who left. And now I had to earn my way back, not by force, not by lawyers or cupcakes or scooters, but by presence. By patience. By showing up even when it stung. So that Monday morning, I texted Mark. I'd like to pick her up from preschool this week. Just one day, not overnight, just a snack, the park, and back home before dinner. It took him a while to reply. Okay, Thursday. Thursday. No fuss, no drama. Just a door opening, not for a title but for time. On Thursday, I got there early. Stood by the gate with my hair done, a juice box in one pocket, a pack of rainbow stickers in the other. The teacher waved when she saw me. Camille Wright, Addie's mom. My throat tightened. Yes. She smiled. She talks about Rachel a lot, but I'm glad you're here today. That small emphasis on you shouldn't have meant so much, but it did. Then Addie ran out, backpack bouncing, eyes scanning the parents. And when she saw me, she paused. Not ran, not froze, just hesitated. Then walked toward me. Hey, baby, I said. She looked at me. Where, Rachel? She's not coming today, just you and me. A beat. Then she nodded. Okay. Not excitement, but not rejection either. Just a beginning. We sat on the swings at the park, side by side. She kicked slowly, legs too short to push herself. I didn't offer to help. I let her set the pace. I got a star sticker for my poem, she said. Oh yeah, what was it about? Rain and raccoons. I laughed, that sounds like a very deep metaphor. She blinked, what's a metaphor? I smiled, never mind. We shared a snack on a bench. I asked questions. She answered in half sentences, crumbs on her cheek, eyes mostly on the squirrel near the trash can. And still I stayed. Quiet, available. No bribes, no begging. Just being there. On the way home, she asked, can we do this next Thursday too? My heart hiccuped. You want to? She nodded, but maybe we bring Rachel next time too. I exhaled. Slow, controlled. Maybe, but today was just us. She thought for a moment, then. Okay. That night, I didn't cry. Didn't spiral. Didn't stalk Rachel's Instagram or draft another angry text I'd never send. I just wrote one sentence in my journal. She chose me for a day, not because I demanded it, but because I earned it. Weeks passed. One Thursday turned into 2, then 3. then a Sunday brunch, then a Friday craft night. The days were still small, uneven, but she started reaching for my hand. Started showing me pictures from school before she showed Rachel. Started calling me mommy again, sometimes first, sometimes second. And for the first time, it didn't matter. Because I stopped fighting for the word. I started fighting for the moments. Then came the flu. Mark texted late one night. Rachel's out of town, I have a deadline, Addie's sick, any chance you could. I was at their door in 12 minutes. She was curled on the couch, cheeks flushed, nose running. I knelt beside her. Hey, baby. Her eyes watered, my tummy hurts. I know, sweetheart, I'm here. And for the first time in over a year. She reached for me. Not out of habit. Not out of confusion. Out of need. I held her until she fell asleep, burning up and mumbling dreams into my neck. And in that moment, I realized. This wasn't a comeback story. It was a quiet rebuild. No applause. Just one day, one juice box, one bedtime song at a time. I stayed the night on the couch. Mark didn't say much, just handed me a blanket. At 3 a.m., I woke up to a little voice. Mommy. I sat up, yeah, baby. She stood in the doorway, hair messy, face pale. I had a bad dream. I opened the blanket. She climbed in beside me, curled into my chest, and whispered, I'm glad it was you tonight. I didn't cry. I just kissed the top of her head. And for the first time in forever, I felt like a mother. Not because I earned it. Not because I claimed it. But because she gave it back. A few weeks after the flu night, Rachel texted me. That had never happened before. She and I had kept communication minimal, filtered through Mark or preschool calendars. Now her name flashed directly on my screen, and my first reaction wasn't curiosity. It was dread. I tapped the message open. Hey, I know this might be weird, but Addie's school has a family day coming up. She really wants both of her moms there. Would you be willing? I stared at the words. Both of her moms. A year ago, I would have thrown the phone across the room. But now, I just sat with it. Not offended. Not threatened. Just tired of being in a war no one was winning. Especially not the child caught in the crossfire. I waited an hour before replying. Not to be cold. Just to breathe. Yes, I'll come, for Addie. She replied within seconds. Thank you. Then, after a pause. Want to meet for coffee before, just us? That part I hadn't expected. But I said yes. We met at a cafe downtown. Neutral territory. No toys, no sippy cups, no Mark. Just two women in their 30s, holding paper cups and too much shared history. Rachel looked tired, but still put together. I probably looked tired too, but I'd stopped caring so much about that. She spoke first. I'm not trying to take anything from you. I know how it must have looked. I shook my head. You don't have to explain. I want to, she said, because you've shown up, you've changed, and Addie, she feels it. She talks about you differently now. I sipped my coffee. She doesn't cry when I pick her up anymore. Rachel smiled softly. She told me you make the best jelly sandwiches. I actually laughed. That's a low bar, but I'll take it. We sat in silence for a beat. Then Rachel added, I don't want her to have just one mother. I want her to have both, but only if you're ready for that. That word. Ready. I wasn't ready when I gave birth. Wasn't ready when I left. Wasn't ready when I came back. But maybe now, for the first time, I was ready to share. Not because I had to. Because I finally understood that motherhood isn't a crown, it's a practice. And there's enough room for more than one woman to love her with everything they have. Family day arrived. The school was buzzing with awkward dads, nervous moms, and toddlers in crayon-streaked shirts. Addie wore her favorite dress. The blue one with clouds. She held both our hands as we walked into the building, mine on the left, Rachel's on the right. The teacher smiled. You brought the whole family today, huh? Addie grinned. Yep, my two moms and my daddy. She said it so proudly, so freely, it made the woman beside me tear up. Rachel blinked fast. I squeezed Addie's hand. I'm really glad I came, I whispered. She leaned into me. I told my class you make the best voices when you read stories. That tiny sentence hit deeper than a year of birthday parties and failed Thursdays. Because she wasn't saying you're better. She was saying, I see you. When we sat in the little circle of parents and sang the silly Family Day song, I caught Rachel's eye. She gave me a nod. Not a truce. A team up. And for the first time, I nodded back. Later that evening, as Addie showed me her artwork folder, I saw it. A drawing of our family. 5 stick figures. One labeled Daddy. One labeled Mommy Rachel. One labeled me. And one smaller one labeled me when I was a baby. The 5th. A dog. She looked up at me. That's you holding baby me. And who's that holding big you? She smiled. Rachel, but you're both moms. I swallowed hard. Do you think that's okay? She nodded confidently. I'm lucky. I didn't answer. I just kissed her on the forehead. Because she was right. She was lucky. But so were we. That night, I didn't cry in the car. I didn't ache the way I used to. I just felt still. Settled. Not in the center. Not on the outside. But woven in. Where I belonged. And when I looked at my phone one last time before bed, I had a new message from Rachel. She's so happy, thank you for showing up. And for once, I didn't feel like I was chasing her approval. I felt like I was standing shoulder to shoulder with someone who wanted the same thing I did. To love the little girl we both called daughter. In our own ways. At our own pace. Without keeping score. Without needing to win. Just there. Together,